Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Sonia, fourth generation intuitive Hay House author and guide. And today I'm going to teach you the most important spiritual tool ever. Seriously. And actually, it doesn't require any of these things. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the beautiful, most gorgeous spiritual practice that you are born with, and that is play. Learn why play helps to connect you back to your intuition, back to your spontaneity, to the present moment, helps you defeat your ego, fear, actually connect you to your spontaneity and back to your joy. Now, before you're like, okay, play, I got it. Like, what do you even mean? Are you talking about playing pretend? Maybe, sure. But first, let's talk about what play really is. When we think about play, not in terms of little kids playing pretend, although that's pretty rad because it's, using your imagination. But also, when we think about play in an adult way, play actually means that we are present and connected. We trust ourselves. We trust the people that we're playing with. It doesn't necessarily have to have an outcome. So much of our lives, so much of our world is geared towards what is the result, the reason why. You go to your job because you make money. You brush your teeth because, you want teeth and they're important, your mouth bones. You exercise because it makes you feel good or you want to be strong. Whatever it is. But when we engage in play, what we actually do is instead of having it to have a specific outcome, we get to allow ourselves to enjoy. Play is purely for our pleasure, for our enjoyment. And for me, when I think about spirituality, when I think about spiritual practices, and what we're really doing is returning back to our innate joy. That's why when you think even in the Bible and all things, like be like little children, which means open, available, listening, guided, not so caught up in different constructs of how the world should be in stories. And when we play, it not only has innumerable effects like reduces stress, increases our imagination, helps problem solving, helps our memory, helps build social connections with other people, but it actually connects us back to our inner child. And your inner child is actually the intuitive, creative, resilient, flexible, gorgeous, gorgeous self that gets really brilliant intuitive guidance. And we have made this mistake and this belief that being an adult means, we have to be serious. It's the thing that I see and really just makes my heart hurt so much when I go out into the world and meet people who have no ability to laugh at themselves. No ability to make fun of whatever, of life, of their ego, or have to take things so seriously or have to be so intentional and purposeful. Because when we're in that space, we're constantly having to try. And when we actually allow ourselves to play, one, it engages our imagination. Your imagination and your intuition are twin sisters. They go hand in hand. The more healthy of an imagination you have, the more you're open to solutions, the more creatively you think, the less you get stuck in linear thinking, your intellect, the more that you're listening. Beautiful. All those things, that is intuition. Intuition is deep listening. It's coming up with solutions. It's being creative. So our imagination fuels our ability to be intuitively guided because we don't get so caught up in the linear. Also, on top of it, play reminds us and returns us to our joyful self, to that present moment. That's where we connect with our intuition. That is where we connect with our spontaneity. And spontaneity is really just another word for trust. It means I trust myself. I trust the moment. I trust that however I can be. And it's an expression of joy. It's an expression of self. And when we disconnect from that, because we're fearful of what other people might think or it's not serious, it is a loss and a big, big loss of our own personal power and our own part of our own identity. Our world, like I said, we love sense. But too much sense becomes restricted. It becomes where we get so stuck in wanting to know how, why, and that's all the intellect. You know, one thing that I remember so clearly, even sitting in my mom's workshops for years, and one thing that she would always say is, when did you lose your dance? When did you lose your song? When did you lose your ability to see those things as important and holy? Because that's a good indicator of when we got to serious, when we got to the idea of what it means to be an adult or have it together or whatever. But in order to come back to play and spontaneity, actually, it's super simple. Start by looking and asking yourself, what did I love to do as a little kid? What were some of my absolute favorite things to do? Was it mix cereal? Was it color? Was it to play dress up? You know, and we can even do that in ways that feel safe to our ego intellect that gets scared and try and protect us or even criticize us. If you like to play dress up as a little kid, maybe put on a YouTube makeup tutorial and do it for yourself. Try a look that you would never, ever think of. Or, for example, maybe you are somebody who always liked to make potions. Maybe you like to pretend that you are a witch. You know, maybe that means that, hey, you can make a new recipe. Or let's say you love to play with Legos. Maybe get yourself an adult Lego set. Or even better, you know, come up with build some new structure. Come up with a puzzle if that feels too scary. You know, it reminds me of one of my clients that I had a few years ago. And she came to me so anxious, just disconnected, and was like, all I want is to be intuitively guided. I'm working so hard. You know, I'm doing it right. I'm reading the books. I'm doing the practices, but nothing is working. What's not happening? And when I tuned into her energy, I was like, wow, what I find is that there's no spontaneity because there's no trust in yourself and in your spirit, and there's no trust in the world. And so what you're really trying to do is control and manage it all. And so for that reason, that means that you are disconnected from your play, which is your place of where you create. So one of the pieces of the homework that I gave to her was, because she had 4 little kids, was to have a tea party. She had 4 little girls. And I said, you get to throw a tea party and you get to be the high princess. And at first she was like, I'm not totally sure how I feel about this, but like, all right, like what kind of tea should I get? Do I need to get a tea set? I said, you know, why don't you just let it marinate and see how that feels? And just let yourself go full out and just go for it. And so she did. She made it an assignment. She got a beautiful tea set. She got herself a dress. She got her daughter's dresses. She set up a whole date. She brought the stuffed animals, and she had this beautiful, super fun tea party. And it was a game changer. On our next call, she was like, wow, I haven't done anything like that in such a long time. I completely forgot how much fun it is to just show up and let my inner child create. And now, actually, what I want to do is I want to start coloring and drawing, and I might take music classes, and all of these things started to bubble up. And what happened was everything started to unlock, started to be able to connect back to her spirit, to her intuition, to her solutions, to joy. It was a marvelous transformation. The more that you can play and really prioritize it as a spiritual practice, the better your life will be. Even just a few weeks ago, my best friend came into town, and my boyfriend and I, we rented a castle in Covington, Louisiana. Shout out to one of my little choopy clients who gave me that tip. And we had a blast. I told her to bring a crown. I wore a crown. We had a whole royal party, and it was a blast. We shot Nerf guns and blew bubbles and listened to ABBA and were silly, and it filled up my cup. So the more that we can create play into our lives as a spiritual practice, the more that we connect to the divine, because that laughter is the language of God. And you know, the ego can't laugh at itself. It's impossible. It can't, because it takes itself seriously. So when we reconnect to our humor, to our play, to our joy, we actually take back our power from feeling afraid and actually put ourselves in the rightful place. Like, you know, laugh and the devil will go away, as my mom would always remind me. So where can you find more humor? Where can you find more levity? Where can you find more space for nonsense? as a spiritual practice, just as important as your meditation, just as important as your journaling, just as important as your quiet, recepting, whatever it is, your yoga practice, whatever it is. Play is just as important, and that will radically change your life. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I want to tell you, what's your favorite way to play? One of my favorite ways to play and what I have in my life is I have and love bubble machines. Seriously. One of my favorite ways to engage my sweet little inner child. They're so fun and bring me so much joy. So I have like multiple bubble machines in my house, and that is a very easy, fun way that I play. So what about you? What are some of your favorite ways? Tell me in the comments below. I can't wait to hear from you. Hit subscribe if you like this channel, and like. And as always, I love to hear from you. Leave me a comment. What do you think? Honestly, it is such a joy. And if you haven't already, head to my website, soniatele.com, and get my free spiritual toolkit. You'll get a guided meditation and like an amazing workbook filled with tons of tools that you will love. And while you're there, you can take the spirit type quiz. You can like find out what kind of spirit type you are, and check out my online course, Be an Intuitive Badass. It's tons of tips and tools on how to really move from your spirituality, your intuition being these things that happen, to like a real lived experience, because it is a compass in your life and it is innate. So I'm sending you all my love. I can't wait to hear from you. Bye.